of June. And this Trade Commerce Committee, I'm joined by Mr. Buscaino of the 15th District and Mr. Bonin of the 11th. Can we have the CLA give us the item number 1?
Item number 1, Administrative Exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners Report relative to the proposed First Amendment to the contract with Base Architecture, Planning, and Engineering Incorporated to provide professional design and administration services for parking structure elevator replacements.
And ADA compliance.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Bill Kreitz of the CAO's office. The CAO has reviewed the department's request for First Amendment to the existing contract, and we recommend approval primarily for the fact that it continues without any interruption the essential construction, administration, and project oversight provided by Base Architecture for the elevator structures in the central terminal area. So for that reason, we recommend approval.
Very good. And any questions from my colleagues?
Nope, not for me.
Recommend approval. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Next
you.
item.
Item number 2, Categorical Exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners Report relative to the proposed First Amendment to the lease with King Kishiro International LLC to provide additional space for the manufacturing of light rail cars for LA County Metropolitan Transportation Authority.
Thank you.
Jim House, CAO's office. We reviewed the First Amendment to the Kinkasharo lease, and it's for expansion of the rail car manufacturing facilities at Site 9 at Palmdale. And they'll be making 235 new rail cars in total for the MTA at a total cost of about $911 million worth of rail cars. And they're expanding their manufacturing into some vacant facilities, and it's going to add approximately $430,000 of annual revenue and $1.5 million over the remaining term of the lease. And we recommend approval.
Great. I know, Mr. Bonner, you've been a champion of this. You want to?
Yeah, no, I just want to underscore that this is a great thing. One, I'm thrilled that we're getting a revenue stream out of this, but that's sort of the icing on the cake. I'm sure it's not the icing on the cake for LAWA, but for me and for those of us at Metro, this is really the icing on the cake, is that we're getting the rail cars that we desperately need, and really very important, this is providing the opportunity for these cars to be manufactured and assembled here, so that we're getting local jobs, and this is contributing to the economy. And that is a huge thing. It was very important for a number of interest groups and a number of advocates for workers in Los Angeles that we'd be getting local jobs when we're doing a contract this big. And this, it's not the kind of thing that we can mandate as a Metro board because of federal grant money, which is problematic. But the fact that this deal was able to be struck with LAWA to use this space in Palmdale creates that opportunity and makes it happen. So really, really good thing, and just want to thank you for your cooperation on this.
Thank you. Mr. Buscaino?
Move approval.
Move approval. Thank you very much, Ms. Beavers. Very good speech. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 3, Categorical Exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners Report relative to the proposed agreement with Pacific Coast Sightseeing Tours and Charters to provide Flyway scheduled bus service between LAX and 3 locations, LA Union Station, Van Nuys Flyway Bus Terminal, and Metro Orange Line Woodley Station.
Jim House again from the CAO's office. This is a new contract for the continuation of the Flyway service from Van Nuys Union Station, and it'll add a stop at the Orange Line bus terminal on Woodley, I believe, in Van Nuys. And it's a $76 million contract over 7 years, and it's currently the current operators' fares are a little bit below what it'll take to cover the cost of this contract. So there's a slight fare increase associated with the new.
Does this have the Hollywood stop too?
No, this one doesn't have anything to do
Who
with
has the Hollywood stop?
That's Corinthian, and that contract is coming up in the fall, so we are working on the RFP.
And is there any other stops other than, is there any other, are those the 4 stops that we have flyaways from?
Hollywood, well, go ahead.
Good morning, Marissa Katnich. Currently, we have Van Nuys, Union Station. We're going to have a new one at the Orange Line. We have Westwood, Hollywood, Santa Monica, and we're going to have a stop in Long Beach this fall.
Very good. Yeah, I was thinking about Long Beach because they're good. Mr. Bonin, another champion program for you.
Very excited about the Flyway program. I think Suzanne Tracy may have been in the room with me when this was conceived 10 years ago in settlement discussions. And this has been a good thing. I know it's been tough for the airport to do because it's sort of not the central mission, but it's absolutely vital for the neighborhoods around LA. It's vital for the environment, and it's the right thing to do. I note that the CAO reports that the cost of the new Pacific contract exceeds the current operator's costs on these routes by approximately 20%. And I'm wondering why that is, and are costs up across the board for the other bidders and the other routes?
It's because that's based on what was originally bid on the contract the first time around, and we believe that the costs were bid on this time are the true costs to run the service.
How do the costs that we will be incurring from this route compare with the costs for the other routes we have in the city or in the other cities that we go to?
The cost to run the Westwood route is about $800,000 a year, and same with Hollywood. However, those only stop 35 trips a day, while this is 117 trips a day. It's much more intensive.
Do we know how it compares per sort of, if we costed it out per passenger trip or per mile traveled?
I don't have that with me.
All right, I'd like to get that information. It's not necessary for today, but I'd be curious as we evaluate the measure of effectiveness of these routes, if we're looking at what the cost is per the mile that we're traveling, what the cost is per the passenger. Obviously, we can't change the mile. There are things we can do to increase, I hope, the number of passengers. Sort of a related question. BOAC recently approved increasing the cost of the flyaway ticket. How much did we increase it from, and what did we increase it to?
It was increased from $8 to $9 effective January. Then there'll be another increase in January 17 to $9.75.
And what was the rationale for that?
It'll assist with cost recovery to break even on the cost to run the service.
Was any consideration given to the fact that that may disincentivize ridership and cause problems get worse?
The last time we raised the rates, it was by $1 and there was no drop in ridership. So we don't anticipate that there will be a decrease. We do offer discounts on monthly passes, and that did not change. That's $120, which is competitive with Metro and other transit agencies. And we also have where children can ride free.
Yeah. I'm glad there wasn't a decrease. I'd like to see and keep measuring that data. Although not having a decrease isn't the goal. I mean, we should be looking to have an increase. So I'm concerned that, we may not have had a decrease, but that may have been at the expense of having an increase because of that. So I'd like to sort of get the metrics on what the impact is on ridership. I'm really sensitive to the idea of raising fares at a time when we're trying to increase ridership. What are the what routes are still struggling? I know Union Station and Van Nuys are the really good ones. What are the ones that aren't doing as well, and what have we been trying to do to market and promote them better?
Santa Monica is the only route that's really struggling, and so what we're doing is we're changing the stop, moving it from the convention center to by the pier, and that's going to happen in the next couple of months, so we hope that'll increase ridership.
Why to the pier?
It's an existing stop where the Big Blue bus previously used, and so we're going to use that and see if that's more centralized. The ridership is really poor in Santa Monica.
Is in March of next year, the Expo Line Phase 2 will be opening to Santa Monica, and it will be stopping not at the pier. It'll be stopping around, I believe, 4th, which is close to the Sears building. Are we looking at all at the possibility of that being the stop? Because I would think if someone is coming from, I don't know, Olympic and Bundy wants to get to the airport, they can take the Expo stop and then take the flyaway down.
I'll have to report back. I'll check with our planning team on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like them to be thinking about how for the existing flyways that are struggling, look at sort of the short-range projects that Metro are doing, whether it's the Crenshaw line or the Expo line, the Gold line, what opportunities there are there. As the Expo line, Phase 2, comes on, both Culver City Bus and Santa Monica Big Blue are going to be changing some of their routes on the west side, so that's also worth looking at to see what the sweet spot might be for a pickup location or drop-off. Thank you.
Very good. That's why a council person sometimes has that great insight. Very good. And if we could maybe get to Metro and give an overlay map, that would be a good thing. And the other signature I have, too, because once the mayor of Oakland needed a ride to the airport, and I was down at LA Live, and I think it took 17 minutes. So I know we come from Union Station, but the cluster hotels are in the 7th to Olympic Boulevard area. If there was a point near there, just look at LA Live or thereabout, and you like at Olympic and Figueroa, and then you go right on Flower, straight down Flower. You get on the high-speed track, and you're at the airport in 16 minutes. And then there'll be a sign that we beat Tom LaBonge's record. Okay, but it's amazing, and I was just reminiscing. I'm reminiscing a lot lately, but when I was a kid, there were buses out of Hollywood, and they had the most unique. I should find the pictures of the old airport buses. They were totally different. They had the air conditioning in back. It looked like a spaceship. I will find the pictures because I'll have time to look for them. Okay, move approval. Thank you very much. Okay, good job. Next item.
Item number 4, Administrative Exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners Report relative to proposed property management and leasing agreement with Collier's International Real Estate Management Services for Skyview Center at LAX.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Bill Kreitz with the CAO's office, members of the committee. We've reviewed this request to award to Collier's, and we recommend approval for this professional management and leasing company. For one thing, it will continue the professional management and leasing of the Skyview property adjacent to LAX without any interruption. Secondly, it will replace the outgoing or the current property manager who elected not to bid for these services this time around. And it will also help to maintain the property's competitiveness in the LAX and Century Corridor office market space, and possibly maintain it also for possible future sale. So for those combined reasons, we recommend approval. Oh, and in addition to that, there was a competitive process, and they were selected by way of a competitive process.
Ms. Beavers.
We recommend approval.
Great. We're okay? Recommend approval. Next item.
Item number 5, Categorical Exemption and Board of Airport Commissioners Report relative to the proposed agreement with Boingo Wireless Incorporated for upgrade, management, and operation of the Wi-Fi network at LAX.
Bill Kreitz with the CAO's office, and we recommend approval. We've reviewed this as well, and we recommend approval, not the least for the minimal reason for that it continues without interruption the current Wi-Fi service at LAX. It also upgrades those services. The company has agreed to put in $1.5 million worth of upgrades to the system. Actually, it's a minimum of $1.5 million, and it will create multiple tiers of access for people using the airport as well. It will create revenue of almost $5.9 million over the 7-year contract period. So for those reasons, we recommend approval.
So the only thing I want to add is that with this upgrade, it'll be 4 times faster than it is right now for the free. So we'll see a significant improvement in the service.
I know that's been another champion effort of yours, and also Mr. Rosendahl, who started as well. So,
yeah, I haven't been as thrilled with how it's been as I could have been, to be honest. I'm glad to see that this is going to be an improvement. That I mean, when I go to the airport, usually I'll bring my iPad and I'll stay on the LTE or the 3G network because it's been so slow. So talk me through how this is going to be better for the passenger than the current situation. You mentioned the 4 times faster. Is there anything else?
We still have the free for 45 minutes after you've either looked at a static ad or a video. But unlike a lot of airports, all you have to do is look at another video, and you can do another 45 minutes. So we don't restrict it to one free session per 24-hour period. A lot of the airports that are doing this do. Other than that, they are offering, well, as you probably know, Boingo has started using their Passpoint 2.0, which allows them. Sprint just did an agreement with them. So you would actually have continual service if you happen to be a Sprint network. They have told us they're talking to the other major networks. So there may come a time in the very near future where you would just walk in and it would seamlessly change. If that doesn't happen because they don't have agreements, we are also working on other alternatives, one being the distributed antenna system. I think it's DAS. That RFQ is on the street right now. That's a little bit more sophisticated and bigger than what we're doing right now with the Wi-Fi. So we hope to have that awarded within a year or so and upgrade the whole system.
So for free users, the speed will be 4 times faster than it is now.
Yes.
And for 45 minutes. And then all you have to do is watch a 30-second ad and you get another 45 minutes free?
Yes.
And that is unlimited?
Unlimited.
Okay.
You do it all day.
Is that how it is now? With the 45-minute extensions?
It is. I just don't think that we have marketed it.
Yeah, I don't
As
think
much
most
as we
people
have.
know that. I was unaware of that,
Yeah.
if that's the way it is. So that's, I think, important for folks to know.
We'll make sure Boingo puts that on the splash page.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. I mean, that's, if I'm watching a television show on Hulu, I get more ads during the course of that. So I know a lot of people don't like that, but I can live with that if it allows folks to get the free for a considerably longer period of time. This is a long agreement we're doing, though. It's 7 years. Technology changes very rapidly, and one of the things I'm always concerned about as the city is that we lock ourselves into a technology, and by the time the ink is dry on the agreement, the technology has sort of changed. So what flexibility do we have? I know Commissioner Hsu was a little concerned about this. What protection do we have built in to be able to change things or go in a different direction if the technology is completely different?
Well, 2 things. One is unilaterally, we get to decide if the system is at the same speed as other airports comparable to us, and we can make them increase the speed. But secondly, we also negotiated a 2-year termination with a buyout of any investments that have a remaining useful life. And so, of course, we would coordinate that with something new, be it the DAS or even something different. So I think we have built in a lot of flexibility, and with Commissioner Hsu's help.
So I wanted to ask a little bit about the first thing you just said about being able to dictate a higher speed if we find that other airports are doing it. If if a tech company comes in and does some sort of partnership with SFO and it gives them like really ridiculously fast speed, we can dictate to Boingo we need to get to this speed?
Technically speaking, I'm sure we'd have an argument with them because it says of other airports, but we certainly would have that fight with them. I'm not, technically speaking, we should be able to, but it's the way that we've written it, it's other airports, I'm sure they would have an argument about.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, if say, I don't know, I don't want to pick a company, but say Company A came to some agreement with SFO to provide the service there and it's significantly faster.
Right.
Then that's something we could insist upon.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. I'll move approval.
All right, but Mr. Buscaino has...
No, thank you. It's also great to see our Wi-Fi speed improved here. As you recall, this was my first 245 motion on when this agreement was made with AWG, and I kind of struggle with the fact that we weren't even looking at our local LA-based companies. Knowing now that Boingo has acquired AEG and other service providers, it's refreshing and actually exciting to see this move forward under the hands of Boingo. So, and also the investments that they're going to make to help with the infrastructure investments to help with the speed. And I still have challenges logging on when I'm at the airport. So I hope to see some improvements now with Boingo taking the lead on this effort.
There is some we have insisted on, and they are looking at streamlining the logon process.
Okay, thank you so much.
So move approval, and that completes that item. I'd ask the airport folks at CO if you could wait a few minutes for something before you run back, unless you have an urgent thing. Next item, please.
Item number 7, Administrative Exemption and Board of Harbor Commissioners Report and ordinance to amending the Port of Los Angeles Tariff Number 4, Section 1, Definitions, and Section 13, Parking Charges.
We can move approval, if there's no questions.
None whatsoever.
Move approval. Thank you very much. Good work. Next item.
Item number 8, Administrative Exemption and Board of Harbor Commissioners Report relative to the Fourth Amendment to the agreement with Tetra Tech Incorporated for administration of Clean Truck Program.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. As was stated, this is the Fourth Amendment to Tetra Tech to continue providing concession, grant administration, and support services. This will extend the contract by 18 months and increase the budget by $990,000. The port, as part of the fees from the Clean Truck Program, this program and other expenditures are fully reimbursed each year by approximately $1.3 million annually in fees. We recommend approval.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Cannon, how does this tie into the 2016 AQMP?
The 2016 AQMP, well, it just continues to support the reduction of emissions at the port, and in particular, the truck emissions were huge, and so by reducing emissions for NOx in particular and PM, it helps. Now, we've actually seen a growth in the number of 2010 compliant trucks, and those are the ones that are the cleanest for NOx emissions, and that's what you're concerned about, I know.
Sure.
We're up to a little over 30% now of the fleet, and it increases each year. So this will continue to help that.
Very good.
The truck program will continue to support.
Yeah, in light of some recent articles, as we've seen over the weekend on the asthma patients, they've seen a significant reduction in the ER. Other parts of Southern California see it spike. So it's incumbent upon all of us to really look at finding ways to lower emissions. And as a representative, as the City of LA's representative of the AQMD, we're helping lead that effort in partnership with both ports. So commend the port's efforts in continuing the Clean Truck Program. And we've seen significant improvements, so we want to take an opportunity on this item to thank the Port of Long Beach and Los Angeles for reducing emissions. What are we up to now, 82% of NOx and SOx?
That's right. 82% of NOx, 90+% of SOx, and nearly 60% of 82% of PM, 90 SOx, and 60% of NOx.
When will there be a day where 100% of our trucks are running with cleaner fuel?
We hope by the end of this decade. We're, as you know, beginning the process of discussing a new Clean Air Action Plan update with Long Beach and with AQMD as part of those discussions, and we hope to find ways to incentivize the use of alternative fuels and cleaner trucks and eventually zero emissions.
Right, and cleaner ships too as well.
And cleaner ships, all the sources will be focused on.
Well, we're blessed to have you leading the way, Mr. Cannon. Appreciate your work, Chris.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have we taken item 7 on the
We're going
parking
to take
charge?
6 right now. We did that. But then before you go away, just also look back at your history of other milestones that have been made in all the environmental work that you've done. Because I know it just seems like this decade would take a long time, but it's still going to look at what those have done something in the past. Thank you very much. Hi, this is a committee room. If you need any help, we'll help you. The other side of the building, right around the corner. Yeah. Hey, Lisa, will you give him a hand, please? Next item.
Item number 6, Administrative Exemption and Board of
Hey, staff, if you could wait too, just for after this item, unless you got to run. Just wait just a minute. Okay. Thank you.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. This is the second amendment to the sole source agreement with Microsoft Corporation to continue to provide product support and consulting service to all Microsoft products that are used at the report to revise the fee summary and services amount and to provide an investment discount that wasn't identified in a contract previously. We recommend approval.
Thank you.
Good morning, Lance Kaneshiro, Chief Information Officer at the Port.
How many chief information officers are in all the other city departments?
I believe that there are 3 others, one at the ITA, DWP, and the airport.
You guys ever get together? And
We do.
good,
Yeah.
super. Any questions?
Nope, move approval.
Move approval. Thank you very much. That's
Mr.
approved.
Chair, can I ask, we can reconsider the parking item?
Yeah, okay. Does that matter? Just right there.
Came quick.
Okay.
Sorry,
You got
Mike.
Something. We went out of line by accident.
Yes.
That's okay.
So, we want to
Reconsideration.
Okay, thank you so
Granted.
much. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so it looks like we're going to increase the charges of parking on our cruise terminals, and also it looks like Catalina, the USS Iowa, as well as the Lane Victory. Seems an increase of rates that are going to impact, I would assume the general fund dollars at the port?
It will impact the Harbor Revenue Fund, yes.
Harbor Revenue Fund.
Directly.
Any of those dollars can go back to the LA waterfront redevelopment efforts?
Well, it's all part of the
It's all
process.
part of that,
So
okay.
the more money we receive in net revenue, the more money we can allocate based on our improvement plan of 10% for the net income.
And how, what is our current terms with the operators right now?
PCI, we're in the process of going through an RFP, so we should issue an RFP sometime in the next 2 to 3 months. And then at that point, we'll go through a competitive process and determine who the new operator or whether the existing operator will stay on.
Again, this is prime real estate here, and I'm kind of puzzled the fact that the port's not looking at this as another economic development or redevelopment opportunity, because it's, I mean, there's so many parking spaces, we can really maximize that space. In the RFP is, and I know, City Attorney, we're not, maybe I can actually ask for a report on the progress of the RFP, but, I mean, there's some opportunities there, Mike, as we all know, that we can bring in more retail, dining, entertainment at these parking locations. Is the port ever, are you kind of forward thinking on maximizing that space and looking at the best and highest use of these parking lots?
It's an obvious look at because of the size of the area
Right.
and the location, close to downtown, close to Ports of Call, but we have a line of progression in development, which starts with Ports of Call, then would go to the Cabrillo Way Marina sites, then look at areas of Outer Harbor as well, and then would go back to there. And so I think we have other opportunity sites that are just as close in, just as important, and just as valuable to develop first. But then, of course, in the future, if the demand is there, we can continue to look there and densify the parking areas through structured parking.
And the new RFP that's going to be, you haven't put that out yet for the,
No, we have not put that
Okay.
out yet. There'll be flexibility in that to do what we need to do long-term.
okay, got it. Can you just loop us in that process?
Sure.
Loop my office in, and I just don't want to see like a 10 or 20-year agreement on these parking lots, knowing that there's change coming. So
It won't be that long.
Okay.
Or even close to it.
thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Move approval on this item.
Oh, we reconsider, that's very good. So that clears it all, we voted for it all, but we want to just take an extra minute because this may be one of the last meetings. We want to salute the staff that helps all of us here. And first, I'd like to introduce the guy who came in last, representing World Airports, Mark Adams. Give Mark a big hand here on behalf of, all right. I think you could run for office with that clap, Mark.
And Mark's counterpart at the Port of Los Angeles, Eric Martell. Thank you, Eric, for working with Tom's office. Look at this. You're here for less than a year. And
Did I
you get all
accidentally
oh,
sign
sorry,
Martell?
year and a half.
Did I accidentally sign the Martell one?
Actually, you did. You want to cross that out, Mike?
Yeah.
Blaine Sutton Mills right here does a great job.
Leading at TCT at every meeting, Michael Espinosa.
There's Bill. I've known you the longest, Bill, I think. Yes. Is that right? Come on up here. Bill D. Credits. Yeah, with the price. I said, yeah, give him another hand. Started in general services, right? Where do you start? CDD. CDD. God, that's a long time ago.
NPR voice. He's got the NPR.
NPR. He does have the NPR. But I love the guy from the airport. I really talks like a radio guy. Give me his name. What's his name?
Oh,
Bill?
that's right.
Very good. Alvin B. Newman. Alvin. Good job, Alvin.
Thank you, Alvin. Thank you so much, sir.
And Andrea Mills. Good job, Andrea. And just for the record, if those who got these, I would like to thank everybody, but it's certainly to come up here, Mark, and get with Mike. We take a quick picture for the employee newspaper. You're the lifeblood of the city. This committee does handle with the exception of water and power, but it's the water and power, the Port of Los Angeles, and Worldport Airport that absolutely does the driving economic force. So we want to thank you, and we get a quick group shot here. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.